Hey there, this is Katie from KT and the Squid. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a simple product review. I just happened to be on Amazon and a few crochet hooks caught my eye. As a professional crocheter, this is what I do for a living. This is how I make money. I try and use the best crochet hooks that I can find, but I understand as maybe like a hobby crocheter, you can't justify spending that much on hooks, or maybe you're new to crochet and you don't want to invest too much. So these hook sets looked really interesting to me, and I thought that they might be a great option for a new crocheter or somebody on a budget. So this is the set here, and I purchased it with my own money, so this is a completely honest review. And I will link to this set as well as a few other similar sets that I found on Amazon. So let's get into the review. So here is the hook case that this hook set comes with, and I can already tell this was not in the description of the listing on Amazon, these words right here, so that's already something that I don't really like. You can see here on the listing there's nothing on this case, so that's a little weird. I'm going to open this up and I'll look at what's inside. I'll show you what's included, and then I'll try out the hooks. Okay, so in this set you get the case that I already showed you, and it looks like a fairly decent case, but like I said, this says the greatest happiness in life. Happiness in life is one word. This was not in the photo of the description, which makes me like it a little bit less, but I do like the case minus that part. You also get these safety pin stitch markers, which are really helpful. And then you get this little case with needles in it. So I find this very helpful too, because I'm always losing my needles, and this is a nice way to store them. And then you get a row counter, which always comes in handy. And it looks like two cutting instruments. So this looks like something you can put on your finger and you just cut the yarn. It has a little blade, so that's pretty useful. And then these little scissors, which I think look pretty useful too, because they're nice and small and everything fits neatly into the case. So as far as the hooks, this set comes with a lot of hooks, and that's one of the reasons I picked this set. So I believe the largest size is a 10 millimeter, which is I think an N, and then the smallest size looks to be a 2 millimeter, which is a B. So the hooks, they have the millimeter size on them, but they do not have the letter size on them. So I don't know if you're using a pattern that doesn't have the letter, you will have to look that up, but I don't think that's a big deal. So as far as the feel of the hooks, these handles feel really nice. They are not too squishy, but they are kind of like a soft silicone. So that'll be interesting to see how that feels on my hand. I have had hook sets before that were a really, really soft silicone grip, and I found that it was kind of irritating on my hands. So I think these will actually be really nice. And looking at the hooks, the hooks themselves, they look just like normal aluminum hooks. So nothing too fancy, but if you are new to crochet, I think this is a really nice set. So I have a gauge swatch that I need to work up for a project anyway, so I'm going to grab the yarn that I need, and then I'll pick out the size hook that I need for that, and I'll give one of these hooks a try and let you know what I think. So at the time of recording this video, this set is listed on Amazon for $12.59. So that alone, I think that's a really great price for something like this. So you get 13 hooks and plus all the accessories. So that works out to basically less than $1 a hook. So for the value alone, I think that's a pretty fair value, especially if you are new to crochet and you don't want to spend a lot of money on hooks. I think so far, I think this is a good set to go with. So I grabbed my yarn for the project that I need to work up. I have palette from We Crochet, this is a wool yarn, I believe. And yeah, it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So I'll see how that works up. And I need a 4mm. So let's see, 4mm is this one. So I'll get started on my gauge swatch and I'll just kind of show you how it's working up. I'm feeling the hook and it feels a little, not so sticky, but I think it just needs to be worked in a little bit. Like they have like a little bit of a grip to them, but I think once you use it a little bit, it'll kind of like work them in and they'll feel a little bit nicer. So I'll get started on my gauge swatch. All right, so I finished my gauge swatch and I'm feeling pretty confident that I can make a good assessment of whether these hooks are a good investment or not. So when I am crocheting and I'm trying to decide if I like a hook or not, there's a few things that I take into consideration. So the first is, does it feel nice in my hand? And this hook does feel nice in my hand. I will say I'm going to compare this with another hook here. So this hook is available in a set from We Crochet. It's very similar. I think the set goes for like $10 from We Crochet and you do get less hooks. I think it's from size B to either J or K. So you don't get as many hooks in this set, but looking at them, they're pretty much identical. The length is the same. It looks like maybe the hook is slightly different, but everything else is pretty much the same. But the thing I noticed about these ones from We Crochet is that the silicone handle is quite a bit softer. It's almost like, not so much, maybe a little bit squishier, but it is grippier. So when I use these hooks, it does start to drive me a little bit crazy because it starts to rub on my skin as I'm moving. And one thing I didn't notice that with this hook. So I don't know if it's because it's new and maybe it will soften up over time. I'm not sure, because if you look at these hooks, I mean, they look exactly the same. And then the other thing is the length of it. So I have fairly small hands, so I have a hard time with really long hooks, and I feel like this is a good length for me. So if you have larger hands, maybe this isn't the best choice for you, but if, so just comparison, I have, this is just a standard hook from the craft store. It's exactly the same length. So if these hooks are a good length for you, then this one should work just fine. But just as another comparison, so this is a Furls Streamline hook, which is quite a bit longer. And I know people love the length of this one. So if you like a longer hook, maybe this isn't the best choice for you. But if you're someone like me who likes somewhat of a shorter hook, then they're perfect. And then just for reference, I'll go ahead and measure it, and it is about 5.5 inches long. So another thing that I consider with my crochet hooks is the actual hook itself. Does it glide through the yarn easily? Does it split the yarn? Are you able to easily like hook it all, you know, so it doesn't leave some of the yarn behind? And I will say the first few chains, remember how I said like it had like that kind of almost like a sticky or tacky feel to it? It went away after I finished my row of chains. So I don't feel that at all right now. So they just need to be broken in. You could easily do that by maybe rubbing it on some fabric or just rubbing it on some yarn, and it works just fine. So as far as like the quality of the hook itself, I mean, it's just a basic aluminum hook. I would almost say that the quality of the set is less than the standard hook that you'd find at the craft store. So I mean, you get what you pay for. But if you are a new crocheter, it's a budget yarn, a budget hook, it'll work great for you if you're new and you just need a set of hooks. So yeah, it worked well through the yarn, and I enjoyed it. So this gauge swatch is for a sweater that I need to make, and I feel confident that I would be able to make a sweater using this hook, no problem, and it wouldn't give me any frustration or anything. So overall, I think this set has a few pros and cons, and I do kind of think that the pros outweigh the cons. So the hooks, like I said, they don't have the letters on them, but they have the measurements on them, and that works just fine. If there were no measurements, that would be a deal breaker for me. The hooks, I mean, you get what you pay for. They're cheap. They might not last you forever. Like I said, the silicone might get soft and it might not hold up so well over time. The hooks, they're cheap, but they get the job done. So if you just need a set, I think this is a good one to go with. And just for good measure, I am going to test out these scissors. So I have crochet thread here, which is a bit stiffer, and you need some sharp scissors to get through it. So I'm just going to try them on this thread, and they work just fine. I do like that they have this lid, so it protects the scissors, and also if it's in your bag and you're poking around in there, you don't get poked by the scissors, so I like that. This thing, I don't really see the point in having it if you have the scissors. I mean, are you going to crochet with this on your finger? It just seems a little silly, but I will test it to see if it actually works. And it does, it works just fine. I don't know why you would have this instead of scissors, but I mean, why not, I guess. The row counter is helpful. It is meant to go on knitting needles, so it's not going to fit on any of these hooks, but you could make a little bracelet and put it on your wrist if you wanted to use it. And I mean, it's a little difficult to turn. That is one thing. I wouldn't use this. If I needed to keep track of my rows, I would use stitch markers, and I'll go ahead and open these so I can show them to you. So these are just basic kind of safety pin looking stitch markers, and you can just slip them wherever you need, and they're removable. These are always handy to have, so I like a set that comes with stitch markers because you can never have too many of those. And that's what I would use instead of this thing. I wouldn't use that. That is not useful for me. But overall, I think this set is worth it for $12.59. If you need a set, I'd say go for this one. And like I said, I'll link to this in the description of the video, as well as some other ones that were very similar. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. I will have more product reviews as well as yarn reviews and different tutorials. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.